She's been in your favorite dramas, but somehow she's never treated like a star. Jung So-min, brilliant, consistent, and strangely overlooked. In an industry obsessed with viral fame and social buzz, her story feels like an anomaly. She's not a product of hype or marketing. She's proof that real artistry can exist quietly without applause. But that raises a question few have dared to ask. How did one of Korea's most talented actresses remain so underrated for so long? Born Kim Yoon-ji on March 16, 1989 in Jinju, South Gyeongsang Province, Jung So-min's journey began far from the limelight. Her childhood was structured and creative. Ballet, traditional Korean dance, endless hours of disciplined training. She wasn't groomed for fame. She was molded by art itself. Yet the real conflict came from home. Her father, a strict man, opposed her dream of acting. Their relationship grew distant and cold for nearly a decade. It's not something she dramatizes in public, but that silent strain shows up in her performances. The ache behind her eyes, the quiet defiance in her tone. Her pain became her palette, shaping her emotional range long before the cameras ever rolled. Her official debut came in 2010 with Bad Guy, a dark melodrama starring Kim Nam-gil and Han Ga-in. For a rookie, she displayed an uncanny naturalism. No exaggerated gestures, no overacting, just lived-in truth. Critics noticed, but the industry didn't. Then came Playful Kiss later that same year, a romantic comedy that would define and in some ways limit her early career. Domestically, it was a flop, scraping a mere 3% in ratings. But internationally, it became a phenomenon. Fans across Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America adored her portrayal of Ohani, earnest, imperfect, and deeply human. It was the first time global audiences saw her potential, but Korea barely blinked. That contradiction became the blueprint of her career. Global admiration, domestic indifference. Korean entertainment has long prioritized home ratings over global reach. Even today, international love rarely translates into local respect. For Jung So-min, this meant years of doing everything right while still being treated like she hadn't done enough. After Playful Kiss, she kept working relentlessly. Can We Get Married, Big Man D-Day, strong performances but not headline dramas. Her roles weren't flashy and her image wasn't designed for virality. She wasn't trying to be the next it girl. She was trying to be believable. And in an industry driven by image rotation, new faces, louder personalities, that quiet consistency became her invisible barrier. While others played to the cameras, Jung So-min stayed in character, and the system punished her for it. But the turning point came in 2017 with Because This Is My First Life. This wasn't a fairy tale romance or a fantasy spectacle. It was painfully ordinary. A story about two people trying to survive modern adulthood. As Yoon Ji-ho, a struggling writer navigating financial and emotional hardship, Jung So-min delivered a performance that was so real, it didn't feel like acting. Critics called it restrained genius. Viewers connected deeply to her vulnerability. Yet even with all the praise, she didn't suddenly skyrocket to superstardom. Why? Because she didn't fit the template. She wasn't loud, she wasn't trending, she wasn't built for memes. Her brilliance was quiet, and quiet doesn't sell drama merchandise. While the series proved her emotional range, tabloid attention shifted to her real life. Her relationship with co-star Lee Jun grabbed headlines. Their romance lasted 3 years, and though they handled it privately and gracefully, the coverage often overshadowed her craft. Once again, her work was sidelined by noise she never asked for. In interviews, she never complained, but her silence spoke volumes. Then came The Smile Has Left Your Eyes in 2018, one of the darkest and most complex projects of her career. As Yoo Jin-kang, she portrayed a woman torn between love and moral conflict, trapped in a story that blurred the line between romance and tragedy. It divided audiences. Some found it too heavy, others found it unforgettable. But for those paying attention, this was her true artistic breakthrough. She wasn't acting for approval anymore. She was embodying characters that scared her. For years, she'd been treated like the reliable supporting lead, the one you call when you need depth but not dominance. Then in 2022, Alchemy of Souls changed everything. Her role as Mu Daeok, a maid possessed by the soul of an assassin, became a cultural phenomenon. She was witty, tragic, and magnetic all at once. Every scene proved what longtime fans already knew. Jung So-min could do anything. Online discussions exploded, praising her comedic timing and emotional precision. But just as her career seemed ready to explode, season 2 arrived without her. She was replaced by another actress, Go Yoon-jung. Fans were furious. Theories spread. Was it a creative decision, a contract issue, or something more political? The production claimed it was story-driven, but the timing raised eyebrows. After years of fighting for visibility, Jung So-min had finally captured the spotlight, only to be written out of it. The fandom's outrage wasn't just about missing a character. It was about watching yet another hardworking actress discarded for market freshness. It was a cold reminder of how replaceable even brilliance can be when the industry values image rotation over artistic loyalty. Her departure from Alchemy of Souls could have been a setback, but instead it became a rallying point. Audiences began to re-examine her entire career, realizing how much they'd taken her for granted. The discussion shifted from why isn't she more famous to how did the industry ignore her for this long. In a strange way, being replaced finally made people see her worth. And now, as the 2024-2025 slate rolls in, Jung So-min stands at a quiet but decisive turning point. Her recent works, Love Next Door on Netflix and Would You Marry Me on Disney Plus, are proving that longevity wins. These aren't just projects, they're proof of survival. She's playing mature, layered leads that allow her full emotional range, no longer the naive rookie, but a woman with history in her eyes. Streaming platforms are giving her global visibility the old system never did, and this time the audience is paying attention. Jung So-min's career isn't a tragedy, it's a critique. It exposes how an entertainment machine built on virality often fails to reward consistency. The system wants instant icons, not patient craftsmen. She chose the harder road, to be an actor, not a celebrity, and it cost her mainstream fame. But it also gave her something most stars lose too early: credibility. Every role feels honest because she never sold her authenticity for attention. She doesn't shout her talent, she lets it linger. That's why her performances stay with you, not because they're loud, but because they're lived. She's part of a rare breed of Korean actresses who embody realism in an industry addicted to spectacle. And maybe that's why she's still here, while many overnight sensations have already faded. If you've watched her work closely, you'll notice a pattern. The smallest expressions carry the biggest emotions. The glance, the hesitation, the barely there smile, all loaded with meaning. It's the kind of acting that doesn't trend on TikTok, but it builds a legacy quietly, one scene at a time. Jung So-min's story also mirrors something deeper about the audience itself. We're often drawn to what's loud, viral, or new, but real greatness isn't always visible. It's steady, it's deliberate, it's earned. She represents the kind of career that doesn't need constant reinvention to stay relevant because the foundation was built right from the start. So where does that leave her now? Maybe she'll finally get the mainstream acclaim that's long overdue. Maybe she won't. But in the end, does it even matter? She's already achieved something rarer: artistic respect. Every time she appears on screen, viewers trust her. They know they'll get truth, not performance. And in a world drowning in noise, that's the loudest statement of all. Jung So-min's journey forces us to rethink how we measure success. Maybe stardom isn't about how bright you burn, but how long your light lasts. She may never be the industry's loudest name, but she's one of its most enduring. And perhaps that's the ultimate revenge: staying relevant not by shouting, but by quietly outlasting everyone else. Because in the end, Jung So-min doesn't need to be seen everywhere to be remembered. She already is, in every quiet moment she's ever owned, and in every viewer who finally realized what they'd been missing all along.